Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I want to talk about my planner lineup for 2025. A little late to the party, but here we are. Anyways, the planners that I'm going to be talking about here are my personal planners. Nothing related to work per se. I have a separate planner for that, which is at work. And actually it's like a bit of a makeshift calendar that I'm using. I'm trying to use a lot of my stationery supplies, so no formal planner in particular, at least for this year. So okay. So to start with, this is my hand stitched leather cover passport size. So this is my everyday carry. It's always in my work knapsack. Take it with me almost everywhere if I'm not using the Louise Carmen Paris Ernest. I'm definitely using a passport cover, which happens to be this one right now. So in here is an insert from Travelers Company, which is their monthly planner for this year. And like the name suggests, it's just calendar straight up. And I really use it for, like, you know, birthdays, important events, if I'm meeting up with friends a particular day, stat holidays, that kind of thing. So I would just jot it in here. I haven't done it yet, but like important dates related to like my classes and whatnot, I'll be listing it out here. Otherwise, it's basically like at a glance that I can take a look at and be like, oh, okay, right. This is the day, this is what's happening, that kind of thing. Otherwise, I mean, I don't use an actual planner in here. I notice for like my everyday carry, I use predominantly lists. So I just use a notebook, essentially with just lists and stuff of things I have to do. I do apologize. I'm just going to take a little moment here. I'm filming my videos back to back, and I haven't learned the whole process about editing videos yet. So my voice is getting a little tired. Anyways, please bear with. So that's my everyday carry. Next up, I think I'll talk about this one because it's my main planner, which is the Hobonichi Weeks. I have been using Hobonichi Weeks, and if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that I've been using it since roughly 2019. Bit of a story came out of the fact that I bought this pencil case that I thought was perfect for Hobonichi Weeks. And at the time, the Weeks was on the rise in terms of like a planner that everyone was using, so I decided to pick one up for myself. Found out that the cover, the pencil case that I had bought doesn't quite fit the Weeks planner, so which led me to buying covers for it and whatnot. But anyways, I sort of stuck to it. Yeah, so definitely picked up one for 2025. I'm still in the process of like filling it. So as you can see, I put like just an example here, like I always do like monthly to-dos, but nothing's like really filled out yet. Started doing like quarterly stuff, but yeah, still requires like a lot of filling out. Books that I need to read, not that I need to read, but like my to read pile per se is here and whatnot. But yeah, like I'm still in the process of still filling it out and whatnot. But yeah, so the Weeks is my mainstay. I know, especially when I was still working 2 part-time jobs, I really needed to keep track of like all of my shifts. So the Weeks has been very handy. Now that I only have the 1 full-time job and I'm still in school, again, it's been very handy on top of like all of my social engagements and stuff. Yeah, I don't imagine myself moving out of the Weeks, honestly, at least in any time in the near future. So yeah, I would say my Hobonichi Weeks is my main planner. So that's that. Now the next one is my pocket. So I kind of call it my everyday carry, but inside the house. So, I mean, I have one for outside and then I have one for inside. So this is more of like my notes and everything. Like if I wanted to keep track of something in the house and like, you know, I just remember it at random, I would just write it out in this notebook. But I also found it's useful to have something of a planner in here. So what I'm using here this year is the Field Notes 56 week date book. So just show you what it looks like in the blank. It kind of said you can write down the month, and then it's an undated notebook, so you have to fill it out. But it's really useful because like you can actually just like jot down little quick things, like, you know, if it's a birthday, if there's something that you want to do that particular day, it's just like a quick little note that you can write it out, which is useful. If you saw my flip through from last year, I was using a Hobonichi Weeks, like sorry, not the Hobonichi Weeks. It's like a Hobonichi vertical insert. I think it was meant to like be pocketed in like the A6 or something. But it was almost the size of a pocket, so I kind of used it in my pocket notebook and it fit fine. That was like a vertical weekly insert. Was it useful? Sometimes. I don't know. I think that's a sign that I'm probably not a vertical planner person, which kind of sucks because I do have a B6 planner that is vertical, but that's another story. But I think this one will be pretty useful just to do a snapshot of like what's happening that day or what's the main thing that I want to focus on for that day. So that's my pocket. Sorry, one moment again. And the final one is in my B6 Slim. So this one was a late addition. And if you were on my Instagram, you would have known that I had issues with this. So I bought a B6 Slim monthly insert booklet from Stalogy. Now, Stalogy has been pretty great. I do use an A6 notebook at work from Stalogy. Holds my my inks just fine, fountain pens and everything. I noticed with the B6 Slim booklet, when I tried it here initially, there was such an overhang on the side. And I just assumed that like all B6 Slims were exactly the same in terms of dimensions. And I found out apparently they're not. This is like the only size where everyone seems to have their own size going on. So for Stalogy, FYI, I don't know if they actually say their dimensions here. Yeah, it's like 121 by 182. This is millimeters. So I mean, I think the other notebooks is like a good 5 centimeters smaller. So, which sucked because like, I mean, the setup is really cute. Like you've got like the annual schedule, kind of similar to the Hobonichi. So you can do like at a glance, depending on how you want to use these grids. And then you got like your monthlies. Sorry, I'm just going to choose a blank here. So you got like the monthlies, and then you got like little boxes on the side where you can like write things. Sorry. Sorry, my throat is getting really dry now. So two things. So fortunately and unfortunately, like I did have to cut it. Luckily, I did have a paper cutter in the house. And fortunately, it didn't cut off, as you can see, it didn't cut off the monthly, which is great. You can see it's still intact. The only thing it actually cut off was the days on the side of the annual, and you can see that like 2025 was cut off. But that's no biggie. You can just count, right? So that wasn't much of a loss. So I was like, yay, everything's fine. I inserted it. But then when I started writing out the entries, I noticed there was a bit of bleed through. You can see it up here. I think if I were to use, because I started here, I just noticed, and I use a fountain pen, and fountain pens, again, work nicely with the Stalogy. There's a bit of bleed through, which sucks. It's the first time I've experienced it. They use their own paper. It's not Tomoe River paper, but still, I mean, this is the first time that I was like, oh, heavier inks do experience a bit of a bleed through. But I mean, it's not the end of the world. I know there was a much bigger issue with the Hobonichi weeks, which, I mean, if that happened, I would definitely be like losing my mind at that point. But because this is just a monthly that's in my B6 Slim, which I'm sort of like going back to using more often. I mean, again, not the end of the world. But yeah, so essentially, in sum, I have 2 planners that are using monthly inserts. Sorry, just going more centered. So I've got 2 planners that are using monthly inserts. I've got one that's using a sort of weekly insert, and then you got the Hobonichi weeks, which is a little, again, also weekly, but much more fuller in terms of like what I enter in here. So this is my main one. And then I just got like my extra, my sides. Will it change throughout the year? I tend not to switch up mid-year, but I mean, again, I've never been in a situation where like something wasn't working and then I had to stop. At least no, that's not entirely true. There was like one notebook I wasn't able to use one year. I think that was the Midori weekly or something. Yeah, that setup just didn't work for me. And I already had my weeks and I think another planner at that point. So that aside, otherwise, typically I do keep to the planner for the whole year. And then once a new year starts, then that's the time that I would try something else. So yeah, that's essentially my lineup. Did you have any questions about it? What's your lineup for this year? Happy to hear what you guys are doing. If you're shaking things up, trying something different, whatnot. Happy to chat with you guys in the comments. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And until next time, bye.